if there's no title changes on this show, I'm never going to predict a title change again. I will never predict a title change again if there's not a title change on this show. I will just never do it again. This will be the final time on the Watch Along Wrestling YouTube channel that I predict a title change at a premium live event that is not WrestleMania if there are no title changes on Saturday. Mark my words. What's up, world? It's your boy Tommy on the spot for Watch Along Wrestling. Hopefully everyone is doing well and staying safe. It is so great to be back here with each and every one of you. And in this video, I'm going to talk about every single match coming up this Saturday at WWE Summerslam 2024, which will emanate live from Cleveland Brown Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. And I will be on hand for the show. I'm excited for it. I will be leaving here tomorrow and heading out to Cleveland. It should be a lot of fun. So full transparency, obviously when you see this video come up, I have watched all through Monday Night Raw, but if anything is announced probably Wednesday or Thursday, I will not have any opinion on that or any prediction. But in my opinion, they've done a good job really promoting SummerSlam quite a bit. When I first started seeing some of these matches coming about for SummerSlam, I was a little bit nervous. When it first came about, it was obviously Gunther won the King of the Ring. And when he was King of the Ring, I thought, all right, well, they're going to have to take the title off of Damian Priest. They're not going to do Gunther versus Damian Priest, two heels. It's weird. They're not going to do it. But Damian Priest is still your champion. And honestly, I'm really looking forward to see which way they go with this Damian Priest-Gunther match. They've done a really good job, in my opinion, in building this one up. When Cody Rhodes won at, I think it was King of the Ring again, or maybe it was Money in the Bank. I think it was Money in the Bank, and he's coming back, and who should show up on the entrance ramp but Solo Sikoa? I'm doing the Daniel Bryan no. I'm like, please, not Solo Sikoa. In my opinion, the guy just has not really had good matches. I don't want him anywhere near the world title picture, and now here we are getting ready for SummerSlam, and I'm really excited to see Solo Sikoa in the world title picture. I think that match is, they've done such a good job in building up the new bloodline, building him up as this, unstoppable, dastardly heel who's just straight up nasty at this point. And I'm really excited to see where that goes. Nia Jackson-Bayley, another match. When Nia Jackson won Queen of the Ring, I was like, are they really going to go Nia Jackson-Bayley? That's kind of a weird one. But they're playing off of their history from way back in NXT. And now, I think they could go either way with this. Bayley now finally getting a match since she's become the women's champion at WrestleMania. She's finally getting a match on a PLE and is going up against here Nia Jax. So I'm excited that they're getting a showcase for this. And at the same time, I'm excited to see both the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title on the PLE. I think I've read somewhere this is like the first time in a very long time that both the IC title and the U.S. title will be defended on the same PLE under this Triple H regime. And don't get me wrong, I really do like the Triple H regime. There's been some really solid things that regime has done. Number one, I think that the long-term storytelling is fantastic. I like that everything matters. Everything is interwoven. Even on the shows itself, they do a good job in promoting each one of the matches going through. I like that he's brought back a number of talent that I don't think should have been released during the pandemic era. He was quick to bring a lot of folks back and really give them their fair shake on the main roster. So I've liked all of that. If there's two things I have not loved about the Triple H era, number one, I think the title reigns are far too long. I think that if you're making every title reign long, it just doesn't really do anything for the title reigns in general because all of them are long. So in my opinion, I think that has been too much. And I think it's almost like you need to wait till WrestleMania to get a title change, which I think is frustrating. And I do not like the small amount of matches on premium live events. 5 matches is far too little. I was elated to start to see more matches coming together here on SummerSlam. And of course, in looking at SummerSlam, 7 matches altogether, should be 8. I'll get to that in a minute. But in all honesty, I think every one of these matches is important. Every one of these matches means something. So let me break down the card for you in case you are unaware of what the matches are. Starting off, it will be for the United States Championship, champion Logan Paul in his hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. Very interesting to see his reaction and what the crowd does for him. If they boo him, if they give him a hero's welcome. Very interested to see how that all pans out. He defends the championship against L.A. Knight. Yeah. Intercontinental champion Sami Zayn will be defending the championship against Braun Breaker in a rematch after Money in the Bank when he defeated Braun Breaker, which I think surprised many people. It will be for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It will be Bayley defending against Nia Jax. On the Raw side of things, it will be Liv Morgan defending the Raw Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley. Then from there, it will be CM Punk taking on Drew McIntyre with the special guest referee, Seth frickin' Rollins. On the Raw side of things, the World Championship will be defended as it will be Damian Priest taking on the aforementioned Gunther. And then in the main event of the evening, it will be Cody Rhodes defending his championship against Solo Sikoa. So again, I'm thinking that this is a really strong show. Personally speaking, this absolutely should have been the time. I won't even hear any other argument. This should have been the debut of the Wyatt Six. It makes no sense why they are not on this show. They're one of the hottest acts in the company. And you can play off the idea that The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, debuted that Fiend character in terms of matches. He had his debut match at SummerSlam 2019. So it could have been the 5-year anniversary of The Fiend's debut match, and you could have had the Wyatt Six have their debut match. Instead, they have a 6-man against Chad Gable, another incredibly hot, really over character, and he has a new stable with the Creed brothers, and it'll be a 6-man tag on the Raw following SummerSlam. It makes zero sense. I don't know what they're doing. I think they are way too particular when it comes to... I understand that, they probably have some PTSD from WrestleMania 35 and some of those longer shows that were 4.5, 5 hours. But when it comes to the Big Four, I think you do have to have a really long-standing number of matches. Last year's SummerSlam was 4.5 hours long. I don't think it really necessarily felt like 4.5 hours long. And they did. They had 8 matches on that show, I believe. Maybe it was 7. It might have actually been 7. But in any event, it will be a 7-match card. Thank goodness it is not a 5-match card. So let me get into the predictions here for this particular show. I guess we'll start with the United States Championship. It'll be Logan Paul against LA Knight. And I am going to go with title change here. I think LA Knight is ready for that. He needs that big win. And I think the big win for him is to get the United States Championship. I'm trepidatious because they don't seem to really flip the belts. They don't. So I can't see 2 or 3 title changes on this show. So I'm going to be very cautious. But it does feel like LA Knight, he even mentioned it on the interview he did with Cody Rhodes on that So What Do You Want to Talk About deal that he has on YouTube, presented by Wheatley Vodka. And LA Knight said, Cody's right here on the 12th floor. He feels like he's bopping up against it, and he's still on that 11th floor. I think a big win here against Logan Paul at SummerSlam would do wonders for LA Knight. I do wonder if they hold off on it, just because I do think Logan Paul does a good amount for WWE by carrying that belt. He has it everywhere. He has it on every podcast. I think him holding that title probably does a lot for that United States Championship. But I think LA Knight needs the big win here, so I will go with LA Knight. Even though I can certainly see a scenario where Logan Paul holds on to it till Mania and then, goes up against someone like Jey Uso. But again, let's go with LA Knight here. I think he needs a big win in a bad way, and I think he'll get the U.S. title here. Intercontinental Championship, Sami Zayn against Braun Breaker. This one has to be Braun Breaker. I won't hear anything else. I just won't. If they come out and have Sami Zayn find a way to beat Braun Breaker again, I said everything was unpredictable. This match here, I'm guessing, is probably the most predictable. It's got to be Braun Breaker. I would be very surprised if Braun Breaker does not win the title here. They've done a really good job in building him up, and I think him... I like that. In a way, I like that they got rid of the undefeated streak, because I think that limits folks when they're undefeated. Like when the New Day was on their quest to be the longest reigning tag team champions of all time, you knew no matter what, there was no way anyone was beating them. They were going to get that reign. When someone's undefeated, I think it really limits what you can do with them. So at the end of the day, at least they've gotten the undefeated thing away. He lost his match to Sami Zayn, but I think this is his night. I think he wins that Intercontinental Championship on Saturday. Women's Championship, the SmackDown Women's Championship, it will be Bayley and Nia Jax. For me here, I'm going to go with Bayley. I think this is more of the fact that WWE just does not change the titles very often, and I'd be surprised if we're getting 3 or 4 different title changes on one show. I can't see that, and I've already predicted 2, so I can't see them going more than 2, and so you'll probably catch the drift as to where I'm going with some of my thoughts. But in my opinion, you're going to get a big title change. It won't be a title change here. I think Bayley is still establishing herself in this reign. Hopefully she continues to get some matches on premium live events. I think that's been my biggest gripe with the limited amount of matches on premium live events. You need to establish some of these folks. You had Grayson Waller and Theory, never really on a premium live event. Would have been great to see DIY win the titles in Johnny Gargano's hometown of Cleveland. Like, that would have been such a cool moment if they had held off on that. Miz and R-Truth, I think one of the reasons that they, post-WrestleMania, really kind of fell off a little bit is because they were not presented as the big stars that they were coming out of WrestleMania, and they were never on any premium live events. It's been similar with Bayley here. I hope they don't give up on her title reign, and I hope it builds kind of from here and continues to go forward. So I'm going to go with Bayley. They just haven't really done much with Queen Nia Jax either, so I don't think that really is a direction they're going to lean into, like a King Booker or something like that. On the Raw side of things, it will be, again, Liv Morgan defending the championship against Rhea Ripley. Feels a little soon to just immediately give Rhea the title. I think Dominic gets involved here and costs Rhea the match somehow. I'd be surprised if Rhea comes right back, gets the belt, then it kind of kills the story right away. Whereas I do think there's a lot more of this story to be told. Obviously, with Dominic kind of caught in between the two women, I don't know if he's going to just turn on Rhea Ripley here, but I think he'll accidentally cost Rhea the match, and Liv will hold on to the title here. Still early in this stage, but it's great that we got Rhea Ripley back for this match. Let's talk about CM Punk against Drew McIntyre, then I'll get to the two title matches. I think that they're very smart in putting the Solo Sikoa Cody Rhodes match on last. I think that's going to make people very excited for, are we going to get a return? I think without that, I think this has probably been the biggest, most well-built match. Obviously a really tough break with CM Punk getting injured at the Royal Rumble, but they've done a good job in keeping him involved in the storylines and really building this storyline up with him and Drew McIntyre, giving both of them something to do and just driving each other nuts. Obviously Punk cost Drew the title at WrestleMania, cost Drew the title match in his hometown at Clash at the Castle, cost Drew the Money in the Bank match after he cashed it in at Money in the Bank. So he's been just a thorn in Drew McIntyre's side, and I think at this match is when Drew McIntyre gets his comeuppance. I know it's the return match for CM Punk, so it feels insane for him to come out and lose in his first match back, but I think that Rollins is going to be the one to cost CM Punk. I could see a situation here, SummerSlam 1997 all over it again, where Seth is there, he's trying to do the right thing, like referee Shawn Michaels, and the Bret Hart that is CM Punk gets in the way, gets upset here at Seth Rollins, and Rollins turns right around, and he won't hit him with an unprotected chair shot, but I think he will inadvertently get involved with CM Punk. I think that is their story at some point. I think those two do have a match, whether it be at maybe Bash at Berlin or Bad Blood, a couple of big shows coming up, and I think that's a huge match. That match was going to be a main event of WrestleMania before Punk got hurt, so I do think that's the direction they'll go, and I think that it is going to be Rollins costing Punk the match here and Drew McIntyre getting a big win. Another guy who needs a big definitive win. Be something if he was able to get it at SummerSlam. All right, let's talk about these world title matches here. These are really interesting. I don't know if either match is going to just be barn burner, break the doors down, awesome matches that we remember for years and years. I don't know how far. I don't know if I add this to my main events of SummerSlam rankings that I've been doing all week long. I don't know if any of these will necessarily be toward the top of those lists, but I do think that a lot of the intrigue is over the booking here. And I think that in Damian Priest versus Gunther, I think they're going to stick with Damian Priest. It feels like they're onto something with him. They clearly believe in the guy. His documentary is debuting this week on Peacock. They're going to get a 24 special on him. Who was the last person they did a 24 special with on? This literally might be the first 24 special on a wrestler on Peacock since they came over to Peacock. So I would not be surprised if Priest keeps the belt here. It seems like he's really getting over as a babyface, actually, which is interesting because he's obviously still with Judgment Day, who are definitive heels. But, my buddy Randy, who was over at Raw Monday night, said at the end of the night, he hit 2 of those choke slams after Raw went off the air and the place was eating it up, going crazy. So I think they're onto something with Priest. I think they're going to stick with Priest, and I expect him to get the win over Gunther. But it is Gunther. Don't be shocked if Gunther gets a win here. Gunther doesn't lose many matches, so this is an intriguing one to say the least. Then the big one, Cody Rhodes defending the championship against Solo Sikoa. I would love nothing more than to come on and tell you that Solo Sikoa was going to win the title. In my opinion, Solo Sikoa should win the title. You want to talk about storytelling? It makes sense for Solo to win the title, but we waited years and years for this Cody Rhodes story to unfold, for him to finish the story. He's just getting cooking as the world champion. I'd be very surprised. I'd be stunned, honestly, if Cody loses the belt on Saturday. It's just not how WWE operates anymore. They're not. Anything can happen in WWE when it comes to title changes. They don't usually flip them. And I think the intrigue here is going to be, is this the opportunity for Roman Reigns to return? Is this the opportunity for The Rock to return? Are some of those players going to get involved here? Is someone going to come out and help Cody because he has nobody on his side right now, right? They've taken out KO. They've taken out Randy Orton. Who's going to be there to really be in Cody's side to counteract this new bloodline? Will Paul Heyman return? I think really that angle at Madison Square Garden, throwing Paul Heyman through the table, is really what solidified that new bloodline and really heated them up quite a bit into preparation for this match and making it such a match that I'm really excited for. So a lot to be determined here when it comes to this match. I think it's going to be a fun one. I'm going to go with Cody retaining. I'm going to do it trepidatiously because in my mind, I do think for what they're doing, it makes sense for Solo to win the title. I just can't see them taking the belt off Cody so soon. I really can't. So to recap, I went with LA Knight winning the United States Championship and Braun Breaker winning the Intercontinental title. If there's no title changes on this show, I'm never going to predict a title change again. I will never predict a title change again if there's not a title change on this show. I will just never do it again. This will be the final time on the Watch Along Wrestling YouTube channel that I predict a title change at a premium live event that is not WrestleMania if there are no title changes on Saturday. Mark my words. All right. I went with Liv Morgan and Bayley retaining their women's championship. I went with Cody Rhodes retaining his championship and Damian Priest retaining his championship. And then Drew McIntyre defeating CM Punk. Those are my predictions for Saturday. Let me know what yours are in the comment section below. And I will see all of you in Cleveland. Take care. See you in the next video.